chaotic start to the season at Daytona, Blazing Pedals and its racing league gets ready to see how things fare out at one of the older tracks, the iRacing schedule these days. Kentucky is the host for our second race of the season as we get set to go here on Green Flag TV. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me in the booth tonight is Lucas Moody. Our producer is Dustin Owens for this evening's coverage as we get set to see who's able to come away with the first mile-and-a-half victory of the brand new campaign. Happy to have you with us in the booth tonight, Lucas, as we get set to figure out who comes away with the second win of the season after a very feisty race at Daytona just a week ago.
Yeah, last week was an absolute show put on by these Blazing Pedal League races. Of course, Christopher Howell taking the win last week out at the 2.5 mile track that Daytona International Speedway is. But tonight, the Blazing Pedals Racing Series takes on Kentucky Speedway for their second week of their truck series. Next week out, we're going to Las Vegas, and after that, we got Dover and Bristol to finish off your first 5 races of the season.
Remember, those distances adjusted compared to last season. The points, how are things looking to start things off in the conversation, potentially? Well, as these drivers go on, how was mentioned, Lagoons, Harmon, Carroll, and Heggie are a part of the top 5 from that Daytona race. Still very early on in the standings itself, to say the very least. But as we know, when it comes to Blazing Pedals, the competition fears to be able to make your way into the championship itself. These drivers have 10 minutes, 2 laps to be able to set their best times coming up in the next moments or so as they prepare for the warm-up session. So this is the test for many of the newcomers to be able to make a good statement in the truck.
Yeah, of course, changing from the ARCA car to that Craftsman truck, it's a big test for a lot of these drivers. A big car change that definitely will catch a lot of these guys off guard, and they have to be able to adapt here in only the second race of the season. Our first race where that brake pedal is actually required here in this truck series. So it's going to be the first test to see who truly has the best intermediate track pace in this league here. And I mean, this track is going to set the tone for so much of the rest of the season, because Justin, if you're able to dominate here at this racetrack, at the first week we're at a real braking track like Kentucky, it's going to set an amazing tone for you for the rest of the season, and you're going to start living in the minds of all of the other drivers, and people start to think that is the quick driver. When you have to hit the brakes at these big open intermediate tracks, that is the driver that we have to beat.
Dustin Ping, so far the driver to be in the practice sessions, but tonight these drivers look to fare things out in tonight's action, brought to you in part by Ohio and Indiana Roofing Company. Ohio and Indiana Roofing is a premier roofing contractor. We are a sister company to the Bruns Construction Enterprise. We specialize in commercial and industrial roofing, committed to accommodating the unique needs of each client and offering creative solutions to meet those needs. We are a team of individuals who work for the same common goals: professionalism, quality, and service. Services we offer include preventative maintenance, re-roof new construction, infrared scanner, green roof solutions, metal retrofit, emergency repair services, and more. Visit oiroofing.com for more information. So right now, as they get ready to go, Luke, we'll say, as these drivers qualify for tonight, you can see some of the drivers building up momentum. Going to be interesting because remember, with this version of Kentucky, it's the newerish one where you have the imbalanced corner banking per se. No, it's a nightmare if you were to try to set up the truck. And the most difficult turn 3, all right, bites one driver.
Yeah, here we are on board with Dalton Kilroe driving that 41 machine out here tonight. He takes a little bit of the wall coming through 3 and 4. That's going to give him less speed down this front straightaway into his first flying lap. In turn 1 and 2, he's going to go all the way down to that yellow line and slowly wash his way back up to that outside wall. Down the back straight, let's see what speed he hits. We're up to 179, 180 before we got to get right back on the brakes. Turn in for turn 3. Let's see if he can keep it out of the wall this time by washing up. And he does keep it out of the wall. Down the apron we go, through the Geico Recart Stone, across the stripe. Dalton Kilroe puts in a good enough time to put him 15th in the 6th in the standings at the moment.
Yeah, those times falling into the 31-2s. In that circumstance, as we take a look at one of the newer drivers in the series, it's Brian Roush, 32 machine. Right now, 6th best on the opening lap. See the tempo having to be carried to be able to be set up well for turn 3. Roush needs to pick up 2/10 to go for the pole and miss the bottom.
And missing the bottom there is really unfortunate there for Brian Roush. He's going to lose a lot of time, not only because he didn't get all the way to the bottom of the track, he's going to lose a lot of speed in doing that, and he's going to lose track distance as well. Here we go, Jay Powell, that 18 machine, seeing if he can find something here, maybe crack his way into the top 5 off of turn 4. See if he goes down to the apron, crossing the stripe, and that time's going to be a 31.16, good enough for provisional 3rd.
We're seeing a lot of those newer drivers try and figure things out. Jacob Bell, 14th of points after last time out. Also trying to build up momentum. And one of the major things to keep an eye on over the course of this race tonight potentially is fuel mileage for when we go racing itself. Because remember, in this series, 65% fuel cap. You're talking maybe 25 lap fuel runs, give or take, for these trucks. So track position may be very helpful because you won't have a lot of time to get to work to make passes on the track.
Yeah, and you also have to think that they're only allowed 4 sets of tires for this race here tonight, so they won't be able to take 4 tires for every single time they come down pit road for fuel. They'll have to space out their tires and really play the tire management game of they have to make a set last a long time, and of course when you actually want to change that set is a big question looming over these drivers' heads as well. This is now on board with Jamie Lee Dunning in that 94 machine. So he's going to cross the stripe. And Jamie Lee Dunning is a driver I have a lot of experience casting with. This Keystone Motorsports car is a part of the Zero Torque Racing League, the show that I cast Fridays nights since August of 2025. The 94 machine is currently standing 19th as he hits the wall out of 2. He's currently 19th in the standings. It needs some good points here if he wants to crack his way into the top 16.
Yeah, and remember, here's the big thing in the case of Dustin Payne. Top driver in practice. I don't think he liked the run-up. He just reset. Looks like he's going to reset, should say. So he'll retry it again. Here is Heggie. We see him in comparison to one of your top drivers in high tide. Missed a couple races, though. That cost him a chance to race for the postseason for the chase. We'll see how he does in a truck here tonight at the 97. Known for his solid speed, top 10 pace.
Okay, now on his lap as Cody Gibson takes provisional pole away from Jacob Bell by just 27 milliseconds. Great lap from the number 7 machine, who is very experienced in this truck, as he also runs SRA over on Saturday nights semi-frequently. Eddie Hageek, though, he misses the bottom completely coming into 3 and 4, so across the line, let's see where this lap puts him at 31.424, and that's only gonna be good enough for, it looks like, 24th position.
Just caught the apron on his second lap here too. That's going to cost him because he was well slow through 1 and 2 on the first lap to build up temp. Now, does Dustin Payne like this run? Well, he's got no choice. This is his first lap. Right now, the benchmark, 31.058. He's able to do that in final practice. It's in the ones. That's only good enough for the top 10. Now needs to charge on this second lap. You can see how much the truck wants to spin.
Yeah, he's really being super aggressive on his turn in there, trying to take as much understeer off the front end of his car as he possibly can and kicking it a little bit loose to actually manage to turn the car in. A very common strategy used in a lot of these drivers for the qualifying laps. Here we go, though. His second lap is across the line. It's going to be 2/10 slower, so he's not going to improve on his position.
Not everyone replicate what he did in qualifying. That leaves a couple trucks left to go. Kyle Wellman, Ty Marasco, Mark Arthur, and Jonathan Dominics are the only drivers left to set times in this qualifying session. They have 3 minutes to do it. Ty Marasco, very solid, 1.5 miles. He's usually known for the speed more on the short tracks. Going to be one of the drivers to keep an eye on after he tempers flare up. That cost him a chance in high tide postseason racing. Right now, needs to pick up a lot of ground, 31.4 in the first time.
He's got to find about 4.5 of a second here if he wants to be challenging Cody Gibson for that pole position. But once again, these drivers struggling to get to the apex of turn 3 there, as he left about a meter off of his inside car from that yellow line. And across the line, not a bad lap. A 31.188 will put him in that 13th position. So we see that it's a really close field here today with just 2 minutes left in qualifying. Your top 10 separated by just over 1/10 of a second.
Meanwhile, one truck left to set times. This is Mark Arthur, one of the drivers who was in the conversation for last year's championship. He's taking a different approach compared to most. He's using the top to build up the run. The My Little Pony machine looking to giddy up and go. Oh, and
Mark
he's
Arthur.
nearly the wall.
Oh yeah, almost hits the wall there, coming into 3 and 4. As you said, he's running that that My Little Pony machine, which completely caught me off guard, if I'm gonna be honest with you, Justin. I guess we can call Arthur a brony here tonight, but here we go. Starting his flying lap, he used the outside line to build up momentum on his out lap, and here we go, perfectly to the inside line into 1 and 2. You see, he's trying to kick that thing loose on turn-in, just to give him as much front end grip as he possibly can muster out of this truck here. Once again, really nice and tidy into the apex of 3. Washes up smoothly out of 4. This looks like a tidy lap, Justin. I think this should put him somewhere near the front.
Nope.
Oh, not as tight as I thought it's going to be. 2/10 off pole.
21st. That puts him right ahead of Logan Wilson. And with a minute to spare, that means all cars have put up qualifying laps. The only drivers the reason the runoff goes, Harkins and Ellswick had issues on the qualifying laps and did not press the check mark of saying they are ready to finish. So that leaves us getting ready for tonight's 135 lap race. Get ready to see how things sort out tonight, because a lot of these competitors look to replicate speed from last season. Cody Gibson amongst those who will start on the pole tonight. You also have the Battle of the Sevens with Jacob Bell next to him in the blue tip car. Then it's Dunning starting in 3rd, 54 in sim. Chris Carroll, his 99, is in 4th. Kyle Wellman got a top 5 at qualify within a 10th. Same for Dominic's, who will start in 6th, the Canadian, in the top 3 rows. Jason Powell starts 7th tonight. Taylor Butcher Benjamin will take the South Park machine from 8th. Hunter Lagoon starts in P9. A fellow teammate, Brian Zimmerman, next to him in 10th.
Starting tonight's race from that 11th position, it's going to be Michael Boone, that In and Out 15 machine, alongside Dustin Ping in that 81. Starting tonight's race from the 7th row, we have Ty Marasco in that DQ number 1, and to his outside, the 85 of Brad Lawson. In 15th and 16th position here tonight, it's that Jockle Fuel 98 of Chris Evans, and to his outside, that 32 of Brian Rouge. Your last 4 cars in the top 20 is going to be Ronnie Lane in that number 2 machine, William Broughton in that 83, and of course the 65 Skyline Chili of Jeffrey Reed and that 17 of Trevor Harmon.
Then it's Mark Arthur starts 21st today with Logan Wilson alongside him. We're still within 2/10 the pole. Dalton Kilrow back there with MRD equipment. We also have Chris Berg in the top 24. 25th goes to Ellswick here today with Christopher Howell, the winner from Daytona, 26th. Carter Phillips starts 27th. 30 machine alongside Bill Harkins in 28th. Eddie Hagee deep in the field, 29th today. Nicholas Moody, your top 30.
And in 31st position here tonight, starting the race, is going to be Mike Massengill. And in 32nd, it's going to be that Team 526 of Kevin Coburn. And 33rd, we have that 17 of Brian Gapfinder Dees. And to his outside, that 59 of Matthew Kleinschmidt. Just 3 cars remain in the grid. It's going to be the 45 of Landon Kano, the 58 of Joey Neese, and rounding out your 37 car field, it's that 91 of Billy Hensley.
Let's look top to bottom of the running order here today. Within 6/10 the entire field today from Kentucky. So with these drivers setting up, let's talk about some of the details tonight, because keep in mind, these drivers will battle it out over the course of this one. Remember, your qualifying pole award brought to you by Shortstop. Happy to have Shortstop Lawn when it comes to your pole award over the course of this season. So, that pole award going the way of Cody Gibson tonight. I was about to say in terms of the race itself, Lucas, these drivers get ready for a busy, busy battle across the track, because 1, it's hot, 2, the distance 135 laps tonight. Now, keep in mind for these drivers, they also have stages to score points in. Staged laps 20 and 60 tonight.
Of course, the stage is going to make this race very interesting. And you said it, 135 laps around a 1.5 mile track like Kentucky. It's going to be a 202-mile race out there for these guys. A big test of endurance. And yeah, it's a pretty hot track out there, 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, it gets hotter on the sim, but it's definitely not cold. The grip is going to be a little lackluster for these drivers out there tonight. And of course, 7-mile-an-hour winds. These drivers have to be careful to not catch a tailwind coming off of 2, coming off of 4, or they can really quickly get their truck sideways. And I mean, you're just going to go straight into the wall if you're not managed to save it. Going to be able to manage to save it from there. But like you said, Justin, Cody Gibson starts tonight's race off of pole. There's going to be an all-out shootout between him and the 77 to see who can lead the first lap.
Here we go. We're happy to have you with us for tonight's coverage of Blazing Pedals Racing League. We look to see who's able to blaze their pedals coming to victory lane tonight. But it's Cody Gibson in control of this field. Here they come with the pace car already off as they wait for the command of Barney. Five Kings in control of the front. The SM machine right alongside. Green, green, green runs away from Kentucky. Great start for Cody Gibson coming out of turn 4. Of note, one of the drivers up towards the front in Jason Powell. Like to start for pit road. He wants those looking to dig as we are already off and away with a clean start. Top 3 trying to get single filed out. They are side by side for third because Carroll got the pinch.
Cody Gibson wins that battle at the start of the race to lead that first lap here at Kentucky. And Carroll, as you said, he gets that overtake done onto Jamie Lee Dunning. And further back in the field, looking at Eddie Hageeg, he's just behind 4 wide as they're jostling out for position. Currently all the way down at 27, loses a couple more places on that lap as well. Fastest lap will go to Jacob Bell with the 31.181, and we are 3 wide exiting turn 2. As that red and black truck, I believe that's Brad Lawson. It's Brian Zimmerman losing a lot of positions here.
And dropping back a little bit as this run starts to develop. One of the drivers will use the outside wall, and that's the thing. When it comes to 3 and 4, a few drivers will search around for grips. Some will try and hug the bottom. A few will use the higher up portions of the banking to try and do something here, especially since we know those runs are going to be pretty significant in 1 and 2 where you need to stick at the bottom despite that.
And it's going to be all about the game of chess here, I think, is what intermediate tracks are. And actually, for the lead, we have a battle as Cody Gibson's under attack by Jacob Bell. That 77 truck trying to find the inside off of 4. Not able to find a run, so Cody Gibson will hold him off for one more lap. With that 77 machine, Jacob Bell, you can tell he's got pace under him right now. He's trying to use it to get that top position away from Cody Gibson and give him some clean air out in front.
Bell, mind you, has made previous appearances in series like Area and has been one of the drivers that's looked solid in that series in his truck. Look at some of the sends going on in front, though. Dominic's in front of Wellman, top 5, up and away for the blue, red, and white machine. As they'll try and settle on down here. Major thing right now as we go on in the course of the short run for stage 1 is going to be more and more difficult to make a lot of these passes as we go. Kentucky not known for major passing, known for its dirty air once you develop on the long run.
Yeah, of course, passing very difficult here because defense is really straightforward. You simply just hold that outside line, and the inside line gets terrible runs off the corner here, and you can just use that momentum that you got from running that outside line, carry that around anybody trying to go down your inside, and you're able to pretty easily defend here. As most of the pack single file this point in the race, some of our closest battles on track are back there for the backside of the top 10. As we have the number 10 of Taylor Stats BB looking for a move down the inside of Dustin Ping. This, of course, is going to be for the battle of 8th. But as I was just saying, that 81 machine gets a nice run off of 4, and he's going to clear the 10 into 1 most likely.
Your word, likely, isn't going to come into play yet. In the case of 10, it's going to be Ping for the outside getting it done. Steady. Hearing there's technical issues popping up even more so for the 77. 77 getting warned by the field. It's, again, important to mention, So we might see race control have to give some warnings and potential penalties. That's why you see him up and down your pylon. Might be an issue here for that 77 if that continues on, and I think he just got disconnected. I think the sim just disconnected him. Oh, it's trying to.
The 77, I mean, it's having major internet issues right here. I mean,
Yep.
He is just jumping all up and down that tower at the moment. I believe on track he's still running second.
Nope.
He's completely out now. Completely DC'd from this race. He's completely gone.
Bill Harkins in the same situation, by the way, had technical issues just before this. Race control said they were probably going to give a warning anyhow if that didn't happen the next few seconds. So, getting the conversation on track though, Payne, one of the drivers looking to make a statement in this championship this season. Seen this breakdown in front of him. Dominic's picking up spot after spot. He's doing pretty good on the mid-run.
And of course, Dominic's on Jamie Lee Dunning here. This is actually a battle between two Keystone Motorsports teammates for this final podium position. Dominic's and Jamie Lee Dunning race side by side, or race with one another so often over at the Zero Torque Racing League on Friday nights. They're definitely close friends. They know how the other races, and I would love to see a good and clean battle between those two teammates and friends. And that's always one of the most interesting discussions that I get to talk about in oval racing, is racing against your teammates. Because on one hand, you're going to race them super close, super tight, and you're just going to have a good time with them on track. But you're not going to do anything dumb. You're not going to send dumb blocks. You're not going to send dumb dive bombs. But you are going to race them nice and close. Here we go, the battle for fifth as the 2700 Lagoons looking for the inside of turn one.
Yeah, able to get to the inside. Look at Payne. He's also joined this. Kyle Wellman forced to lift a little bit, boxed in. No place to go in his situation. The MFRD machine of Ping picking them off one spot after another. Now able to get in front of the two, just not able to clear it yet. Around the 42. Look at that run inside though. Ronnie Lane in one of the Fords taking the inner groove.
Yeah, Lane looking for the inside of three wide. There he catches the apron into one. It's going to kill his run. Here comes Taylor Butcher Benjamin around the outside of two. And Ronnie Lane, as he's looking for seventh, he's going to fall back down into ninth, as he's not going to have a good run out of four here. It's going to be hard for him to hold on to this position, as they're still 2 by 2 by 2 for sixth position here.
Still a lot of shuffling amongst these trucks right now, because they were coming up towards that point of stage points. Remember, stage points scored at the end of each stage, because yes, of course, but remember, this series does still have the playoff points that come into play. Remember, 16 drivers make the initial playoffs, then it cuts down to 12 after 3 races, then it turns into a 4-race chase with the top 8 drivers after that period. So those points, as they build up, going to be a bit helpful when you start to have to go through round after round before the race to the championship at the end.
And Taylor Stats BB, a brilliant move, threading the needle inside of 3 wide. Oh, he lost a lot of momentum off of 2, though. I was going to kill his run. It looked like he had that move complete and was even looking for 8th place, but he lost his momentum out of 2, cut a big bunch of understeer. Now he's still fighting for his life back there in 11th, still in the middle of 3. The field is not holding up on the 10 truck here, as Taylor Butcher Benjamin looking for anything he can muster out on track right now. Now he's just got Ronnie Lane to his inside, as Chris Evans barely clears him out of 2.
Yeah, still can't get the advantage in the it and out, IT and out machine. Little push up this time. Wants those at the cars in the pack, and the truck should say. See what Dalton Kilroy wants those also on the move. But the top 4, leads closing up again. Carroll has Dunning actually to his outside with a run. They have both been able to reel in the gap for the 7 as we're under 5 to go.
At the moment, Chris Carroll doing a good job of holding off the charge of Jamie Lee Dunning, but that 54 is not done. He's going to look for the inside of 3. They're oh so close coming off the corner. Contact almost being made with the right rear or the left rear side of Chris Carroll's car there. But they all keep it together. Both cars pointing in the right direction. And there's a crash further back in the field, I'm getting word. But it's actually just Logan and Wilson coming down pit road.
I mean, it is a paint scheme that can scare you, but the battle is on for second as these drivers look to score some points. Coming to 2 to go on the stage. No place to go for Dominic's. Dunning already tried the outside. Now bumps from the inside. Carroll pushed up the groove.
And with that move, the firefighter moves up to second. Jamie Lee Dunning now seeing if he can chase down Cody Gibson, who extended that gap to just under 0.7 of a second because of this jostling for position for second place. Because of these battles, Cody Gibson is just waved behind him and said, bye-bye, you guys have fun racing each other. And not only is it going to be Jamie Lee Dunning's turn to catch up to Gibson, it's Dominic's turn, his Keystone teammate, to see if he can get around Chris Carroll as well and bring 2 Keystone Motorsports cars up into the podium for the end of stage number 1. But lap 20 going to be taken by Cody Gibson. Here we got one more lap to the end of the first stage.
Just have to go around one more time around to secure the stage. Already pit road is closed, so for Gibson, it's been a stellar stage 1. It's led all the laps here tonight. And for the 7, keeping up the speed we know he's able to be capable of last season. Contended for several wins for a good measure in the ARCA car. But it's Cody Gibson. Take the roll up and take the stage. Dunning, Carroll, and Dominic's Lagoons in the top 5. Also amongst the top 10, Wellman, Marasco, Payne, Evans, Kilroe. That's how they shuffle. Where's the 54 going? Now a technical issue. Dunning just had an issue.
Oh my, the technical gremlins aren't leaving us alone here on this beautiful Sunday night, as we have our 3rd car disconnected from the session. And yeah, Jamie Lee Dunning, after an amazing 2nd place to finish off stage 1, completely booted for the race and completely off all of our timing screens. Rough end of the night for the 54 machine, especially after a really good run. And he was even catching Gibson there at the end of that first stage. Definitely a truck with the pace to maybe bring home a win here.
Absolutely agree with you there. And that is going to be another shuffle to your point standings. Potentially, if he's not even get on in, going to be an early hole to come out of after we've seen 35 drivers start. We have more drivers in this field than we do at Daytona, mind you, in terms of the point impact. But we should expect everyone to come down pit road as a result of this stage yellow. Now it gets interesting for those tire sets, because after this point you are talking about 3 tire sets the rest of the way, but the fuel mileage doesn't really math together per se. There's not a lot of flexibility on that strategy as you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, if you do the math here, Justin, 135 divided by 4 is 33.5, which means on average these drivers have to do about 33.5 laps on one set of tires. We're still on lap 22. I think this should be a fuel-only stop for most of the field here if they want to have tires by the end of this race. Because not only if you only take fuel at the moment where you save tires for later on, but you'll also get better track position than everybody else. And I think with those 2 upsides, track position and saving a set for later, if I was in the field right here, I'd be taking fuel only. But no, here we go. Gibson taking at least right sides. Let's see if his left side pops up on a jack as well. It does. Gibson, your leader, taking all 4.
Race on pit road, a couple drivers believe took 2. Kyle Wellman, Ty Marasco, wants those, taking a bit of a strategy gamble here. A couple drivers didn't make their stalls either. Hensley and Corburn are going to have to come around again. So an interesting strategy call. I know we haven't turned a lot of laps here tonight so far, Lucas, but gonna be having to hold out for double the distance compared to this previous stage.
Yeah, a 40-lap stage here in stage 2, scheduled to end at lap 60. Gonna bring us 45% of the way to this race, and we have a new leader for the first time. Kyle Wellman gonna pick up that bonus point for leading a lap in. To his outside for this restart, it's going to be that one machine of Ty Marasco. And Cody Gibson, who took 4 tires on that stop, dropped all the way down to, looks like, 4th position due to that stop. So he didn't lose that much on-field time at the end of the day, Justin. And with 4 fresh tires, he should pretty quickly be able to pick off 3 guys ahead of him.
Definitely should, as you see a couple of the trucks peel on down already, taking more service. But it's Wellman, Marasco, Payne, Gibson, your top 4, top 3. One to go on 2 tires. Chris Carroll, Hunter Lagoons, Dominic Kilrow, Butcher Benjamin, and Arthur. Your top 10, Mark Arthur, also known for his strategy gambles, took that gamble to get some track position here. We'll see how well they hold up here. So they get situated at the moment. Who do you think is going to be able to be, who's in the best position, should say, when it comes to stage number 2?
Well, I mean, my eyes, of course, are going to be on your stage 1 winner of Cody Gibson, especially because he's starting in 4th on that outside line. He can get really good runs around that top line, just ripping it around these guys that have older tires than he does. And of course, you have to keep an eye on Chris Carroll as well, finishing that 2nd stage and 3rd, promoted up to 2nd after the disconnect of Jamie Lee Dunning, although he's on the inside line for this restart, going to have a harder time making his way around the guys ahead.
Here we go. Pace car is off. Wellman keeps control. Of note, Dunning wants those back, but he's lost 2 laps from his technical issue. They'll be trying to hope to get those laps back. We're back on our way with the 42 of Wellman. Well in control. Marasco, Gibson able to single file out. Looks like Gibson trying to get around the outside of the 1, in fact.
Can he get there? He can, off of 2. Barely able to give the 1 a little bit of side draft. And he's going to easily use that run around the outside to take 2nd place. But oh my gosh, a hornet's nest behind as Ronnie Lane is in the middle of what looks to be an intense battle here for the final position of that top 10. As we're still nearly 4 wide behind, Justin.
Oh, that's a little bit chaotic with some of the drivers on 2 tires, to say the least. They are fading back, a few of them. Kilrow getting swarmed. Has Burgess to his fender, near contact with Lawson. He'll send it on in. The Blackhawk machine stays on the outside of the 66. Some of the Team 5 entries, 4 wide.
Oh my gosh, and they did it just for a moment. 4 wide off the exit of Ford. We're still 3 as Mark Arthur's My Little Pony car trying to split the gap. Oh no, he gets high up into Eddie Hageeb, loses a lot of momentum. Gets a little wobbly there, and he's going to lose a couple positions due to that. And as you see that red, white, and blue stripe 37 as well, going to make his way down the inside of Mark Arthur. And an unfortunate mistake for Arthur, going to lose him a lot of spots. We're still 3 wide behind, and we're going to be 4 wide once again.
Yeah, they are still not able to settle on down. Near contact involving your race winner last week in Howell. Gets a squeeze on Massengill, trying to make some moves. Arthur gets himself shuffled for good measure. 2 tires is not working at all on this call for the most part. And we're seeing some of the drivers really pay the price. Ronnie Lane amongst those side by side. Look, Kyle Wellman not going. Here it is, 0 tires, in fact, to confirm. Fuel only to clarify that, which makes a lot more sense with the tire limit restriction.
Yeah, and even for these drivers that did take 2 tires, about a year and a half ago, iRacing did a complete tire model overhaul on these NASCARs, I should say, as we're almost 3 wide there for a little bit. But they did a complete overhaul on the tire model, where taking 2 tires became much less effective as the tire wear became much more even across your left sides and your right side. So taking 2 tires is usually only used for last lap scenarios when you have 5 to go, 7 to go, something really small like an overtime attempt. And you rarely see it this early in a race. And as you see, it's not paying off here. The gamble a lot of these drivers take, not working at all. Cody Gibson, one of those drivers that did take 4, now has a 1.4 second gap over the rest of the field.
Yeah, look at the 42 and the pace difference. Wellman just continuously nearly getting ran over. That speed difference is significant. You're talking about 8/10 off the pace for a lot of those trucks as they try and survive on this strategy here. Already seen a fair bit of checkups currently. See Marasco just trying to wrap the bottom also to stay out of driver's way.
Yeah, another one of those drivers on fuel only here, and you can see that he's just losing so much time to the rest of these guys. He's gonna be put 3 wide by a couple of the drivers here. That's Landon Cano and Carter Phillips trying to thread the needle, or trying to split him. Oh no, there's contact actually between the one and that white truck, and the Tundra on that occasion is gonna get past, but very, very scarily.
Yeah, got a little bit sketchy yet again. And what's kind of your thoughts as a driver when you see a panic like this? We have people pitting now.
Yeah, this is Dominic's and Chris Evans coming down pit road. I am a little confused. They were both in the top 10, I believe, before they came down pit road. I don't think there were a couple of the guys that stayed out or did fuel only. Maybe they're trying to undercut the rest of the field. If they pit from here, maybe they're thinking they have enough fuel to go to the end of the stage, and they're trying to undercut the entire field here and see if they can jump them off of pit road.
Oh, that just went out the window because of a crash. Ellswick amongst those turnaround. Caution flag is out front straight away, nearly collecting more competitors. And there's a yellow to freeze the field. And now what do you do is the question. Hagee was the air driver in it.
I mean, how unlucky is that for Jonathan Dominics and Chris Evans? Literally the lap after they come down pit road, a caution comes out, and Justin, that's going to trap both of them down a lap now if they're not able to get the wave around. So both the 94 and the 98 playing a risky strategy call, and immediately they get punished for it. Unfortunate series of events for them.
And that's going to see that caution flag pop up. Yeah, that was interesting. Not sure if there was error or if that was trying to side draft down on the apron almost.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit of netcode for that crash there. Very, very bizarre sometimes with these trucks with iRacing. What seems to happen isn't always what the eye sees. It's a little bit weird. We're going to take another look at it, this time from the onboard camera, and no, I think the 51 just drifts up slightly trying to come off the apron.
Yeah, that was the second hit, mind you, with the apron part. But all of this is going to come up with 100 to go. Look at this. There's the error. Well, the second hit, not helpful.
Yeah, massive netcode there on that second hit. The first hit, definitely, we had the guy trying to come off the apron, Jordan the racing surface. That definitely was contact. But that second hit was, I mean, that's just some of the iRacing funky stuff that we see a lot of the times. Cody Gibson once again going to make his way down pit road. Surely this is a fuel-only stop for the number 7 machine this time. And it is going to be fuel only. As, does he win the race off the pit road? He does, but just barely beats out. I believe that's the 27 of Hunter Lagoons.
Dalton Kilrow amongst those who stay out with a strategy gamble. A lot of drivers not willing to risk their tire sets here, obviously. This puts us in a spot where we restart with more than half the stage to go, or rather, at least more than half the laps. They get 60 to go. Kyle Wellman did take his tires this time, so there's a chance he flies through this pack with the difference between the rubber. Yeah, it's going to be 24 laps from here on out to the end of the stage. So, as you said, Justin, just over half of the second stage left to go here after this caution drops. And it's going to be an interesting start here, especially, you talked about it, Dalton Kilrow not coming down pit road. He's going to start from the point for this restart.
And I mean, Justin, I'm gonna be honest with you, he's going to drop like a stone in water. He is going to absolutely fall through this pack. I mean, I guess he is on the same tires, but I don't know. Now that I think about it, the fuel, since it was only a fuel, actually, I'm gonna correct my statement. I forgot they didn't take tires. It is a fuel-only stop for most of the guys in the grid, so Kilrow should be able to defend his position pretty well, actually, because none of the field took tires. But he is 9 laps shorter fuel than everybody else in the field. So if a caution comes at just the unlucky moment, just the right moment for Dalton Kilrow, he could be stuck a lap down. And that's just the risk you take when you stay out with this risky strategy.
So it's Kilrow up at the front with a little bit of weight distribution difference. Gibson in Lagoons, followed by Carroll and Butcher Benjamin. Lane and Berg, followed by Harmon. Then Lawson and Howell are among your top 10 for the upcoming restart. First drivers on tires, you have to go all the way back to 23rd position. Still have what will be about, give or take, if you add up the numbers, that would be around 22, 23 laps to work with in the stage. Let's find out if Dalton Kilrow's gamble is going to work. Remember, if he doesn't get a caution flag at the right time, we'll have to peel down under green and take that risk that drivers just did there. That's seen them push to the very tail anyway as a result of their timing for this restart. Green flag is out. We're backing away.
Kilrow with the lighter car gets a really good jump off the rest of the field. Hunter Lagoons looking to follow up on that inside line momentum, seeing if he can make his way down the inside of Gibson into one. Looks like he has the room for a slide job, but it was only for a split second. And Gibson, by the time they get to turn 2, the exit of turn 2, I should say, is still along side by side, and he's going to be defending that spot for second.
Yeah, look at Kyle Wellman. He's going to be one to watch for to see how many spots he can pick up here. He's already up to 20th. Speed difference is going to be in the corners here. Watch the onboard, how much he can dig. Already having to take the high side for evasive measures. Little bit of a difference, not as big as per se what it would have been at the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and I like what he did there, ripping that high line through 1 and 2, trying to get as much speed as he possibly can get down the inside of 3. And now he's just completely blocked by the 20. Contact almost made. Wellman's gonna opt to go all the way down to the apron here, looking for a move inside of 3, I believe he is, as he's got the 20 to his outside. The 20's gonna squeeze him into turn 1. He runs up the track into the 58 as well. It's pinball here on lap 40.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers have been pretty aggressive today. And what does that say in terms of the mindset here when you see battles like this, where they've not been afraid to go door to door and risk contact like the way they've been here tonight?
Yeah, it's that aggression being shown from these drivers out here tonight. They want as many positions as they can. Especially, we only have 19 laps for the end of stage 2. These drivers want to be making their way up into the top 10 to secure themselves some stage points at the end of lap 60. Dalton Kilrow doing a great job holding the lead out in front, even though he didn't come down pit road last time, not being punished for it, as the tire deficit is the same for most of the field. The one truck, as we're mentioning, that's on much fresher tires than everybody else, that 42 of Kyle Wellman, as he's going to go down the inside of 3, almost 4 wide for a second. A truck spinning in the background. That's the 98 of Chris Evans, I believe. The 94 of Chris Evans, it is. But no caution comes out. We stay green.
0 minutes was also collected. Let's take a look at what happened. 3 wide. There was a squeeze down there, though, with that offset apron. Yeah, look at this from above. What do you say about this?
I mean, it's an awkward one to call because we have the 24 trying to get up from off the apron, and Evans is really, really squeezing him to the bottom. So I think it's 2 drivers fighting for the same space there. I'd probably call it a racing incident. But of course, Chris Evans, on his car, it shows the 94, but he's being scored as the 98. So I think from now on, I will refer to him as the driver of the 98, because that's what the timing table shows, and that's what I'm going to go off of. Here we go, the battle for second, as Ronnie Lane makes his way up to third for the first time. We've seen that 2 machine have a lot of pace at the backside of the top 10 for most of this race, but now we see what Lane can do. He's in that final podium position. Let's see if he can crack his way up into second, or maybe even the lead.
Yeah. To give correction there in that situation, the 94 Dominic's was the one you're referring to in that spot that ended up plummeting down the order with that contact. Again, we didn't see a caution flag from it either way in this situation. But we're already coming up to what is 15 to go next time by in the stage. Lagoons trying to park it down to the bottom of the racetrack near contact. Slide up behind Chris Carroll. Has already had a few drivers bounce him around today. Get shuffled back in line as Willman had to duck out.
Bowman still on those fresher tires, looking for the inside of 3. He's got Brian Roosh to his outside. He's got Trevor Harmon just in front of him. He's gonna find the move on Roosh, but Roosh is now gonna look to the inside of the apron here, coming through the tri-oval. Roosh looking for the over-under. Does he have the momentum? He's still looking for a move into 1, but oh my gosh, the speed. Wellman's able to carry through 1 and 2, just completely drives past Trevor Harmon.
Yeah, this is what you expect when a tire difference comes into play, as it is here. Wellman going to be in an interesting spot for tire sets, obviously, now. But keep in mind, as obviously things are going to shape up. Well, I was going to say, he is equal to everybody else. He's just on the Superman tires right now is the better way to phrase it.
And once again, just gonna rip that outside line, and it just completely makes Christopher Howell look like an ARCA car out there, as now he's gonna take his run to the inside of Taylor Stats B&B, and he's gonna make the 10 look like an ARCA car as well. And this is insane stuff, showing what 4 fresh Goodyear tires can really do on the bottom of these trucks. And he's just gonna continue this run and keep tearing his way through the top 10 here. Ty Marasco now looking for the move for 9th on the inside of Taylor Butcher-Benjamin. He's going to get that move done by the time they get to the exit 2 here.
Yep, same strategy, mind you, as Kyle Wellman right now. He took some damage repair also during the caution period. But now, just letting the holes open up when it comes to his pace in the MFRD machine. 3 wide in front for Wellman. Look at how low he has to get to avoid the contact. That apron holding him up a little bit.
And Wellman still looking for positions here. Picks off Chris Berg, but he loses a lot of momentum here. And is that going to open the door for Ty Marasco to send it 3 wide? No, Marasco's going to think better of it. He's going to stay behind the 42 of Wellman. I think that's really smart. He could have taken his run down the inside of 3 wide, but with so many laps left in this race, I don't think that risk is worth it. Maybe if you're fighting for 10 to go, I would do that, but oh my gosh, we're still going to be 3 wide. Wellman looking for the apron through the tri-oval. Not able to find the 3 wide move into turn 1, as that right in black car of Brad Lawson is able to hold him off. But Wellman does make his way past Ronnie Lane, who has dropped all the way back to 7th from 3rd.
Yep, and now that shuffle sees the 42 in all of this with 10 to go coming up the stage. Looking for a way to build up a run on Lawson. A couple spots away for the top 5 right now in that conversation for the stage points here. As we close up late. Wellman inside takes on 1. Nearly hits the bumper of the other. Hearing tempers over the radio. Some of the drivers did not like the sense there over the radio involving the 1 machine, but the Wellman machine inside of Lagoons.
And it's a really big lunge that time for Wellman, so he's not going to have the run off the corner. They usually sold like over 5 wide behind for a second, as the 85 of Brad Lawson got caught up in the middle of that. We're still 3 wide racing through the tri-oval. Hectic stuff coming in from behind, and we're hearing the tempers are hot over the radio, and Justin, we are seeing the tempers are hot on the racetrack.
It was the contact with the 2 can confirm Ronnie Lane that pushed Ronnie Lane out of the groove about a lap or so ago. That's why those tempers popped up. Referred to Marasco Not afraid to get some elbows out. Just got boxed in, though. No place to go with Brad Lawson. Inside, Matthew Kleinsmith. Very quiet run so far tonight. He's looking to cut through also on new tires. Second for him now in the strategy.
And we still have some battles here. We're 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, 4 rows deep. As 81 of Dustin Ping moves up into 6th place, able to clear that battle. But the disagreements for 7th on back are still continuing as Matthew Kleinschmidt, one of those other drivers on fresher tires, trying to make his way through the field. And here we go, Kyle Wellman has finally caught the back of your podium position places at the moment. And Gibson and Carroll not doing themselves any favor by actually battling for 2nd place. And Wellman is right there waiting in the wings, waiting to pounce on these two drivers as soon as they lose a little bit of speed here. And I think Wellman, he's going to take that high line through 3 and 4. He's going to get himself a run through the tri-oval, and he's going to see what he can make into 1.
Might have the pace here for the lead. He's going to get there 3 wide. Going to make it easy, in fact. Wellman passes them both. Get around Chris Carroll and Cody Gibson. Only one more truck to beat on this charge from the back to the front. That is the leader, Dalton Kilroe, who, with all this, is showing the range for the fuel mileage later on. Looking like that truck going to be in a confident spot for later all trucks if they stretch at 30-plus laps. Gibson out at the wall tap you've seen previously, starting to drift a little bit back. Believe the truck is okay, but may have been thrown off on his momentum.
Yeah, hitting the wall, even if you don't get damaged, it really sends you out of your mental, it brings this lack of confidence over you, and it really throws you off your rhythm, throws you off your game. So even if you still have a perfectly fine truck after hitting the wall, it's hard to find your momentum. It's hard to find your rhythm again and lock back in, because every single time you approach that corner, you're thinking, don't make the same mistake, don't make the same mistake, don't make the same mistake. So all you're thinking about is that mistake you made, and you're looming on it. So good Gibson here, even though he doesn't have any damage, he has to snap out of that, find his rhythm once again here, so we can fight for these top positions like we know that 7 truck has the pace to do so here tonight. Lap after lap, you can see in your graphic, Kyle Wellman closing in the gap from Dalton Kilroe. 1.3 seconds quicker on lap 55, 1.8 tenths of a second quicker on lap 56, and it's coming down lap by lap, little by little. We're going to have a battle for the lead here within the next couple of laps.
Lift and coast hard right now for Kilroe. You may have noticed, by the way. Remember that fuel range we talked about? I think he's kind of right at the risk of not making it now. Wellman outside, zipping on by the tripods in the Wild Machine. Able to come away with the race lead. He does so coming to 2 laps to go. But look at Kleinsmith. He's even faster than Wellman on the charge.
Yeah, here comes the 59, currently 2nd place of those drivers who were on those Superman tires as Justin coined a couple laps ago. It's going to be lap 59 this time by. Gibson's once again in the wall. Not able to refine his not able to refine his rhythm as I was talking about. And he's just having, he's just dropping back, Justin. This is insane.
Yeah, obviously something broken, looking to move to the bottom, having to come down pit road. Might be an engine issue going on for the 7. A terrible spot here too, no faster pairs, remember, in this series. Here is Kleinsmith though, looking for the race lead. 2 drivers from last season's campaign who had a lot of ups and downs. They battle it out with the 1 to go on the stage. Cody Gibson picks up a black flag for speeding on his entry. Well, Kleinsmith looks for a way to clear.
Yeah, bummer for Cody Gibson, one of the quickest cars here tonight, but the battle for the lead is absolutely intensifying as through turns 3 and 4 they go. They're still side by side, Justin.
Still side by side, and Kleinsmith got the edge out of 4. Matthew Kleinsmith, stage 2 winner. Yes, gets it done over Wellman, Kilroe, Payne, Marasco top 5. Also back there were Carroll, Lawson, Ansley, Lagoons, and Berg. Around the time of the stage, yellow amongst the front rows. Let's see what happened to the 7 here.
As we see Gibson, he's behind Ty Marasco. No contact with any other drivers, just washes up into the wall off of turn 4. and that gave him enough damage to completely ruin his race here tonight. Very surprised that that small of a contact gonna hurt him that much.
That was a little stunning. Oh, Dr. Kilroy just ran out of gas. See this for the 7. Bam. And that sees it. A massive slope for the 7. Never got back in the speed after the contact. But as said, the 41 tried to stretch it, and Kilroy's already asking for an EOL situation because he's barely running 50.
Yeah, the admins smartly are going to give him that EOL penalty so that this weird... So iRacing essentially knows that the 41 is much slower than all the other guys. He has to be put behind them so that iRacing won't be telling the 41 to pass all the other cars ahead, and the cars ahead of Kilroy won't be told to push him or to pass him from behind. And speaking of pushing him, Mark Arthur going to help out his fellow teammate. I'm assuming they're teammates. Gonna help him out, try to get to pit road. They are not teammates, actually. But just gonna be some good respect shown in the grid, and gentlemanship, if that's a word, gonna be shown between the 12 and the 41.
So I know the range for how far you can go if you massively save, about 35, maybe 30 if you're lucky on the push. That sets up some awkward math yet again, not just for the tire sets we talked about, but also in terms of just being able to make it on the fuel itself. You're talking about with how many laps to go, we're going to go back on the green. This field will have a situation now, fresh tires or not, where they're going to be thinking about a stop with under 10 laps to go, possibly.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 stops pretty much guaranteed from here on out. So probably 1 stop for fuel and tires, and then maybe 1 more stop where you don't take tires, you just get a quick little like dash for fuel, and maybe you don't swap out tires, you just keep the same tire set for the last 10 or so laps. It's going to be interesting what the strategy is going to be chosen by these drivers, and of course a lot of what actually happens as one of the drivers misses their box. I believe that was Hosh. A big factor, or Rosh, excuse me, a big factor of what actually plays into these strategies is the cautions that we have. Because if you have a caution like 10 laps into stage 3 here, that changes the game completely. And it's going to be an amazing 70-lap dash to the end here.
And it looks like there goes 32 to take the service. A lot of drivers that round to the inside take the service this time through. So as they top off here, that's how close some of the strategy is going to be on fuel. Lagoons is a part of this top offs this time. His fellow teammates also on it. That includes the 99 of Carroll, looking to get into a better fuel situation if it does go green. We'll be at a 71 lap run to determine the winner if it stays green, with potentially multiple stops, if not 1, if you massively save on both. Kyle Wellman and Ty Marasco get the chance to control this field, along with Kleinsmith and Ping, Hensley and Lawson, Berg and Howell, Lane and Harmon is how they sort for the top 10 here.
Yeah, and right here, this is the moment where if you are a driver in this field, you have to commit to either the 1 stop or the 2 stop. If you think it's going to be a green flag race from here to the end, you want to commit to that 2 stop. Or the 1 stop, excuse me. Heavily save in both of your stints to try to make it just 1 more pit stop by the end of this race. But if you think there's going to be a lot of cautions and you think you're going to catch some cautions to be able to come down pit road and top up on fuel, then you're going to want to push your fuel, push your tires, and not worry about saving. But you have to make the decision right here, right now, and you have to commit to whatever you choose.
Here we go for the restart. 71 laps to go here in tonight's coverage of Blazing Pedals. Waiting for the chance to go. Green, green, green. We're underway. Wellman on the gas and point away.
Wellman, we already are wrecking behind. Oh, we're under yellow instantly. Massengill black flag for passing on the inside on the restart, and Brian Roush around caught in a wreck.
Mark Arthur also went around, although Arthur wasn't involved in the incident that happened. He was a part of the stack up though, and then immediately money shifted.
Nasty checkup there as the guys coming off of pit road that were topping up, trying to catch the back of the pack, were carrying so much more speed than the guys that were already slowed down because of that caution, and it just caused a massive pileup. And this is a bit cheeky here. Someone trying to pull the Kyle Busch. As you see, the gap from the car ahead is absolutely massive. A lot of leagues disallow that here, so we'll see what the admins have to say about this one. But it gives us a great onboard to what happened ahead.
Yeah, the AI Chief Machine, that's where he got the penalty. Yeah, that was the 12, by the way, you see in the grass that was in the spin referred to. His sake was, again, he was able to clear on by, was a part of the checkup reasoning there, and then they all stack up behind him. Caution flag is out. Wow.
Yeah, Arthur just loses it, as I think we might have mentioned, could have been a money shift for the My Little Pony number 12 truck there, as really bizarre incident to kick off our third stage. Let's hope that we can get off to a better start now when we go green again at about lap 68, lap 67. On board once again with the 12 Mark Arthur. Let's listen in. Yeah, money shifts. Just shifts down, trying to get into a lower revs, and completely spins it around.
I was about to say there, how did he not blow it up?
Yeah, luckily didn't blow it up. I mean, got on the clutch barely fast enough to keep that thing running. Because, I mean, more often than not, when you money shift like that in the Xfinity car, in this Craftsman truck, you're just going to simply blow the engine and boom, half an hour repair for you.
So we're under caution once again here in tonight's action. A good time to remind folks now that we're in stage 3. Tonight's brought to you by Ohio and Indiana Roofing Company. Ohio and Indiana Roofing is a premier roofing contractor. We are a sister company to the Bruns Construction Enterprise, specializing in commercial and industrial roofing, and are committed to accommodating the unique needs of each client and offering creative solutions to meet those needs. We are a team of individuals who work for the same common goals: professionalism, quality, and service. Services offered include preventative maintenance, re-roof new construction, infrared scanner, green roof solutions, metal, retrofit, emergency rent repair services, and more. Please visit oiroofing.com for more information. Happy to have them aboard yet again for this season as we get set for the restart pretty soon. Wellman still up in front. Morasco, Kleinschmidt, Payne, the top 4 with how they sorted out at the top of the caution yet again. And we'll try this again with now there's a chance that the fuel mileage strategy could come into play here, because if you're able to replicate what we've seen from the 41, you might just be able to make it on a stop.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Justin, this caution right here helps out those people going for the one stop absolutely massively. It turns this 70 lap stage 3 now into about 67 to 68 laps for stage 3. So it cuts off about 2 to 3 laps of laps where you actually have to save fuel. Instead, you can save that under caution, save that behind the pace car, which is much easier and much quicker than saving under a green flag. So this caution, let me tell you, makes the one stop even more viable, and I would not be surprised if we see a very split decision throughout the field, and we see a good amount of the drivers here tonight start to save fuel on this restart and go for that one stop.
Here we go for the restart situation. Wellman looks to continue to lead. He's led 10 laps now in this one. We'll see how he fares with the pressure. Green, green, green. We're back underway. Wellman, good jump. Kleinschmidt still trying to find a way around the 1, but Morasco got good through the gears. Now looks to clear.
Morasco up high around the outside of Matthew Kleinschmidt. They're going to be side by side off at 2. Kleinschmidt has a little bit of the edge coming down the back straight, and they're still going to be 2 by 2. We're almost 3 or 4 wide. all the way back in the field. But as they come out of 4, looks like Kleinschmidt takes that second place away.
Jump up one more spot in the 59 machine. So about a 10th back of the race leader. 3 wide, as you see, they'll pop up. Hensley, not the quickest to start for him, getting shuffled pretty quickly. Just cannot get in a rhythm. Landon Cano nearly got himself turned around there with a squeeze.
And we're still battling here on the outside of 4. As you see that 26 of Kevin Coburn, that red, white, and blue machine, trying to hug as close to the apron as he possibly can, looking for as much room on the track as he can muster out here. But we're still going to be 3 wide. Now this time, who is that all the way up at the top? That's that Hendricks car. That's Hensley all the way up at the top. He's going to lose about 3 or 4 positions. Not the best corner for that 91 machine. And he's still going to be dropping back here little by little, as he's lost a lot of pace.
Yeah, mind you, the top 28 connected by about 4 seconds right now. Mark Arthur is the next driver back who's lost touch to the pack. See the second place battle heat up though. Ping, yet again, continuing his progression. The 81 has looked confident tonight. Now can Payne find a way to get some clearance though? He's running with MFRD here tonight. The MFRD machines have looked steady and competitive right from the opening rip. Not done for the battle for second though.
Battle for second still intensifying here as Dustin Ping looking for the inside of Matthew Kleinschmidt. Into 1 they go. Ping finds a big slunge into turn 1. He's gonna clear Kleinschmidt by a mile coming off the corner. And the 81 just absolutely sends his truck in. The beautiful move there, making his way up into second. Now we can challenge our current leader, Kyle Wellman, for that top spot. And I mean, look at the speed that Dustin Ping howls out on the track right now.
Yeah, look at the way Ping built up the speed here, looking towards the inside right now. Looking around as Wellman blocks off the coverage. Single file amongst the top 2 still. Kleinschmidt getting loose. Berg nearly ran over the back end of the 59. Your contact with them as they sort themselves out with Howell squeezing, but Payne now pressurizes Wellman up the track. Wellman, one of the 5 Kings Motorsports machines, still fending off the pack.
Yeah, but the question is, Justin, how long can he hold off Dustin Ping, who looks to have all of the pace in his hands at the moment? I wouldn't be shocked if you see the 81 start ripping the high line here. Look for a momentum down the trial. No, he's going to look for the inside once more. Kyle Wellman going to rip 1 line off the bottom, seeing if he can get a good run off the exits. But no, neither car able to find anything on the other. The gap remains the same.
Look at this on the outside now for Ping. Again, trying to see if the outside's going to build up some runs here. That did not gain any ground at all. It lost him ground with that move. It doesn't seem like it's working as well as he wants, but Ping does send it deeper on the brakes. Gains all the time back at the least. So a lot of chess matches going on when it comes to these strategies here, mind you. Some of the drivers seen as fall off, hitting as high as 0.6 of a second. Caution is out, it's the front straightaway, and it's a parking lot. Brian Dizamonso is involved, the 26 taking some slams in Colburn, and we're under caution.
And the big one strikes here at Kentucky as a massive crash happens at the end of the tri-oval. You see many cars involved, the 17 of Brian Dees. It looked like the 26 as well might have got involved in that. And I mean, that sucks to be it. That puts an end to the racing that we saw up at the front, which I'm just absolutely disappointed by, because I mean, that was a great battle that we were seeing between those top guys, Wellman and Ping. But let's take a look at what happened. Oh, the 60, I believe that's Nicholas Moody, gets a little bit loose into the inside of Coburn, and that's going to start the whole thing.
Yeah, it ends up collecting more drivers. During that stretch, by the way, Cody Gibson just had a technical issue, so the 7th, went from great to bad to terrible in the course of a span of 20-30 laps here. So let's take a look at some onboards here once again. 3 wide initially.
Yeah, on board with Moody, and he just drifts up the track ever so slightly into Kevin Coburn, who then gets turned down into Brian Gapfinder D's, and I mean, that's all she wrote for that wreck, and it just goes to show that the margins are so fine in auto racing, where the slightest bit of movement, the slightest bit of going up or down the track can cause a big collision, a big parking lot, as you said, Justin, right at the end of the tri-oval. And for the second time this stage, we're going to slow it back down. We'll get racing again with about 56 to go. This time, from the overhead camera, let's take one more look at how this all happened.
You see right there, ever some little space. Instead, the space closes up with the shuffle up, and they all crash as a result from the 3 wide. Live action, by the way, most of the field pit except for 3. Lane, Kilrow, Harmon. Oh, and we have some tempers popping up. Howell just had contact with Will Bruden. They just had a crash down pit road, and it's a mixed bag of fuel onlys and tires.
As you see, the 83 there of William Bruton is completely spun around on that Team 5 Motorsports truck. And yeah, he's not going to be a happy camper after being spun on pit road. He's going to lose a lot of on-track positions because of that. Nicholas Moody going to be given the EOL penalty for that last incident. And here we go. Let's take a replay at how he made contact with, I think it was the 94 of Dominic's. That's the car to his inside, at least. Do they make contact? They do. And oh, and he gets rear-ended.
Was he trying to stop to pull in his pit stall? I know it sounds like the obvious question, but it's kind of hard to turn left when you're in the straight line, if you know what I mean, when it comes to traffic.
Yeah, just a really weird one. I mean, definitely the 83 having trouble getting into his box, and because of that, he turned into Dominic's, probably thinking he was already ghosted from being in his pit stall. Here we go. It's going to be the onboard from behind, and hey, you see the 83 just completely parks on pit road there in the fast lane. We're on the 87.
Yeah, Howell's front nose just got destroyed, and let's put it lightly, he is not happy. He's top 5 with a crushed fender. This could destroy the run when it comes to Daytona. The winner from there might be hampered. He picked up 30 laps led in that race at Daytona. Look at some of the other signs you see on your pylon. A couple fuel strategies for Hensley and a couple of the drivers involved in the incidents seen there. But the top 3 taking a huge gamble here. Mind you, you see with the stint difference 13 laps. But do you think they're going to be able to make it if they go? This is a gamble you'd think if it goes green to keep the track position.
Yeah, it's a big gamble for sure, and I think if you stay out at this point, you have to be playing for that 1 stop. Now that that caution perfectly played into the hands of these guys going for the 2 stop to where it was 13 laps after the 3rd stage started, they can now make it to the end of the race safely on just 1 more stop. These 3 guys, they have to be playing for the 1 stop here on out, or they're just not going to have any competitiveness in this race.
Will there be any tire spin? Lane control. There was a little bit of near tire spin on one of the previous starts. Looked to be a little bit of it for the 2, but not enough. Back it away.
And the 2 gets a massive jump off the line there through the Geico restart zone. He does get to control when they all go, using that to his advantage to jump to an instant 2.5-second lead at the front of the field. We're going to be 3 wide. Kyle Wellman blocks off the run. And here we go on board with the 42 of Wellman. Once again, he's got the good tires. He's going to see if he can use that outside line to make up some spots.
Not a lot of flexibility, though, remember, when it comes to Wellman's case on tires if we get late race caution flags. Right now, already flying his way to the pack, up to the top 6. Marasco stays to the bottom for him.
Marasco on the inside, Wellman up top. He's got the 16 of Trevor Harmon just in front of him. The 42 in the 1. We saw them battling it out for a little bit in the closing laps of the second stage, as those two of the drivers on the same tire strategy. They're going to be battling out here again in stage 3. Side by side through the trioval they go. Harmon's blocking off the run from Wellman inadvertently. And we're actually 3 wide for the lead here as Lane trying to go through the middle.
Yeah, looking to try and make the move. Rasco thought about it. No. Shuffles back behind Kilrow. Trevor Harmon forced up the track. Wellman clears on by the 1 and the 16 with the pass, though. He is looking to try and lead plenty of these laps. Next driver on his strategy, by the way. You have to go all the way back to Matthew Kleinsmith again. Battle was on for the lead again as well. Side by side with Ping trying to wrap the bottom on the fuel only. Loses third. Now we'll see the battle for second with Wellman.
Wellman takes his run around the outside of Ronnie Lane. Gonna see if he can find the move, and he easily clears Ronnie Lane by the time they get to the exit of 4. And here he goes the run down the inside of the trial, but Wellman's looking for the lead on Dalton Kilrow. And I think through 1 and 2, the 42 is gonna have a really easy time getting through, and he does. Up to the point once again for the 42.
Hearing new tires also on Brad Lawson. That's why he's now rocketing through the field with a pace difference last time of 3/10. Team 5 entry we didn't really see much of last year. Team 5 really to try to make sure there's an upset here, to say the very least. Able to rocket his way up the second.
Yeah, but that's the easy part, Justin. The hard part will be challenging Kyle Wellman for the lead on equal tires. Does Lawson have the pace to catch and get around Wellman? As who is that behind? I believe that's the 81 of Ping, getting a little bit loosey-goosey off of 2 there. He's going to drop down to 5th from that, and Harmon trying to make it down to 6 as he's looking for the inside into 3.
And on the apron there, Cano, really, I wasn't sure if he was going to pit there for a second. Here it is because of a save. Able to hold on to it as a result of that bobble through with under 50 laps to go. And this entire field is watching tightly on how close the fuel mileage now gets. Remember, of course, this run, Cano doesn't need these types of mistakes to cost him here. Just drove down there.
Gets on the apron. Yeah, just turns in way too much. No contact with any other trucks, just overshoots the corner a little bit, kind of misjudges his turn and misjudges his truck, and that's going to lose him a lot of time. Cano drops down to 12 from hitting the apron.
Well, decision there, and now with the front runner settling on down. Of note, interestingly, drivers at Kleinsmith have kind of hit a brick wall on their tire play because Butcher Benjamin actually passed by him in the air battles going on the freshies. The drivers on fresh tires also aren't running away as quick as you would think. They're about to fight, though, with Lawson on the bumper.
I think the reason they're not pulling away is because they're actually fighting for this lead here. They only have 0.3 of a second advantage here. If they fight Dalton Kilrow, Ronnie Lane, they will be re-entered into this conversation for the lead. So Wellman Lawson, even though they want to fight for this lead, they have to be careful to not let the guys behind catch up to their bumpers to make this two-car battle, a 3 or even 4 truck battle for the lead. But at the moment, Lawson not able to find any time on Wellman. As a matter of fact, through 1 and 2, Lawson losing an entire 1/10 of a second on the leader at the moment.
Did Lawson push too hard? We'll have to keep an eye on this as the rest of the run develops. But you see that battle we were talking about with drivers like Kleinsmith getting shuffled here. Losing a ton of ground with Butcher Benjamin already in the next pack. Look at Brian Zimmerman's recovery so far. Right into the conversation here. Getting bounced around a fair bit tonight. One of the drivers who spun around in turns 1 and 2 nearly last time through some of the incidents. The 28 having to come back to the field a couple times over.
Yeah, Zimmerman doing a great job cutting his way through the field here still as he makes his way up into 10th position. And you talked about a little bit, Justin, Lawson might have used up all of his stuff. He's lost 0.2 of a second Now 2.5 tenths of a second to Kyle Wellman, your leader, in just the last 2 or 3 laps. So Lawson might have used up his tires trying to get through the field and doesn't have any pace left to catch up to Kyle Wellman. We'll have to see as that battle continues. But at the moment, it looks like Wellman able to hold off Lawson really, really well at the moment. A little bit of jostling further back in the field for 6th, as Mark Arthur now looking for the inside of 3 wide. Actually, he's going down the inside of, that's the 81 of Dustin Ping, the 59 of Kleinschmidt. Arthur's looking for 9th, but it looks like they're able to hold him off for the time being.
Arthur, remember from the grass a few cautions ago on the charge up there. Zimmerman making a pass also. And again, you want to be able to stick to the bottom at this part of the racetrack. We've seen it all night long when it comes to these drivers. Zimmerman picking his spots though. Some teammates right in front of him next. It's an out when it comes to the team setup. Once again for the 2 and for the 45 who have been able to recover, who has been able to recover, should say, from going on the apron. He doesn't even look like he's lost a beat. He's back to 4th, in fact.
Great recovery there from Landon Kano. I talk about it so often, but a mistake like that, hitting the apron, hitting the wall, it's really easy to just go on tilt instantly, get down on yourself, lose your rhythm, lose your momentum, and never find it again. But the driver of that 45 truck, he did not let that hinder him. He instantly found his rhythm once again. He was 12th just 5 or so laps ago. He's able to make his way back into 4th. Great recovery there from Kano, and we're 2 by 2 here now for 4th.
Still sorting themselves out. Kilrow trying to find a way to get around to the inside to get the spot back. No. And remember that strategy play. We'll see the stops pretty soon for drivers like Kilrow. Really for Ronnie Lane as well. Some of these drivers going to have to come down pit road, and it's going to be very close. Second changing hands with traffic. Look at Butcher Benjamin. He's charged up like a rocket.
Taylor Sadspeeby looking for the inside, trying to take that 2nd place away from Brad Lawson. Lawson, though, he's got the outside line. He's got the momentum. He's going to live to fight another day. Butcher Benjamin trying to lunge down the inside of 3, but there's no dice for the 10 at the moment. The 85 hangs on.
Able to withstand the first bit of pressure. They built up a more than 1 second cushion. Once the top 3 here, all these drivers are putting themselves in a spot with a pit stop with the way the laps are looking, obviously with less than 25 laps to go. Others gonna have to figure out a way through this traffic at this point, because that might be the separation that a few of these trucks have to think about. Zimmerman in particular, you gotta be thinking potentially with Dalton Kilrow, you're gonna have to find a hole. There's the near contact as they meet your slam. Battle for the race lead, more important though, because Lawson to the outside.
Lawson just under attack from Butcher Benjamin, and he's now on the offensive. Oh, he hits the wall out of 2, but he still has some momentum. He doesn't lose too much time to Kyle Wellman ahead. He's going to try to take his run around the outside. Wellman once again dipping low, but this might open the door for a run. Brad Lawson might be able to look for another move, but no, Taylor Butcher Benjamin this time going on the offensive, as in the bottom right of your corner, we're looking at the battle for 6, excuse me, as Mark Arthur trying to see what he can do to get past Ronnie Lane and Dalton Kilrow.
Yeah, gonna have to find a way to get that done quick. Look at some of the drivers already escorting themselves to the inside. It was Hagee wants those 3 wide in the back of the group. Arthur wants those digging as well in this pack. Look at Arthur continuing up through the field. He's known for his long run speed for a reason. We've seen it now with that 12.
Mark Arthur on his charge through the field, up into 6th at the moment. Now he's just got Matthew Kleinschmidt ahead of him for 5th. Or excuse me, Landon Kano ahead of him for 5th. And then he can start looking to make his way and try to catch up to the guys ahead of him. as I believe that actually is a lapped car that he's fighting with on the inside. That is a lapped car. His Landon Cano is 0.8 of a second down the road. So Mark Arthur now is at the head of that pack, and he can start lap by lap, ticking down the time to Landon Cano. Matthew Kleinschmidt ahead. Currently the gap 1.3 seconds.
Yeah. And right now, they all zipped away. We're inside the very edge of the fuel window. The fuel save window is open for the field. Drivers like Kilrow, remember, had the clutch and coast at about this point last time they got to this mark. Kilrow, don't think is necessarily in that same spot right now, but he is not afraid to just give up a couple spots here in the sake of setting up for the long run. Pit stops coming up. Ronnie Lane has to come down this time. He was in a worse spot compared to the 41 on fuel. So everyone gonna have to make sure there's no issue on the brakes here with Lane going down low. There he goes with Zimmerman nearing the wall, and Chris Carroll just had something happen.
Yeah, Chris Carroll, repairs required. That's a meatball flag for the 99 here. Trying to see if I can find any damage on his truck. He's going to pull it down to pit lane, but Justin, I don't know about you. I'm not seeing too much damage. Maybe something on the right front. Let's take a look at the replay, see what we can spot. That's off of 2 at the moment. Into 3 he goes. Yeah, he's completely missing the right front fender now that we can see a better look at it. Just a kind of freak incident there.
I don't think it's a freak incident. As you see more drivers come down, the reason I think the meatball just popped up, I think the car said, or the tire said no. The 99 this entire run had been turning that right front by 45 degrees. So pretty sure Chris Carroll burned all the tire off that machine. More pit stops coming up, not for your race leaders yet though. So we keep an eye. Look at how much he's having to turn. This is an obvious way where you say, what's a right front when you can burn it to the ground?
Yeah, this is insane. I mean, that car is understeering so much for him in the corners. And here comes Dalton Kilrow, 38 laps into his stint. He's finally going to bring his 41 machine down pit road. And Justin, crucially, with a little bit of fuel saving, he can make it to the end of the race with this pit stop right here. The rest of the field now going to be 27 laps on their stint when they cross the stripe this time by. They're going to be getting ready to make their final pit stop in just 2 to 4 laps time.
So we are in that spot where all you have to do, if you want to win the race, keep it clean, make sure you're good on the tires in terms of how long you push. Bit of flexibility though, remember on the decision making if you're the leaders. And 1 lap difference could be the difference to hold on in front. It looks like the 42 wants to pit now. He will have Will Bruden though, who is not necessarily running the quickest down the lane. But we'll keep the gap in front, so that gives Brad Lawson the lead for the first time. Expect a response.
Yeah, this is really smart here from Kyle Wellman. He's not going to let the guys behind get the jump on him. Instead, he himself going to go for the undercut. He's going to come down pit road. He's now in his box, and this is going to be the hint. We're going to see how long he stops in his box to see if he goes for 2 tires or 4 tires. Very crucially, we'll have to watch out for that time. As it ticks up above 10 seconds, that's a 4-tire stop, Justin. Kyle Wellman going to undercut Brad Lawson from behind, taking 4 tires. He's going to get an extra lap on fresher tires than the 85 behind.
Yep, exactly. Active pit road right now. Keep in mind, in the case of Wellman, he had a normal 43-second run on the apron, or rather down pit road. This likely going to be a race for the win here. You look at the 2. Able to gain a lot of ground, but the problem is he is on 4 lap older tires. Wellman with a chance to battle.
Wellman going to use that chance beautifully through the tri-oval, taking the inside into 1. Oh my gosh, no room given at all from the 2 of Ronnie Lane into 1. He was squeezing Wellman down to the apron. Off of 2. Ronnie Lane still there. This is just slowing down Kyle Wellman. He's thinking about the battle between himself and Brad Lawson. He wants to make quick work of the two here, and out of 4, I think he's finally got that move done. Wellman still in the net lead of this race at the moment. And I'm trying to see where the 85 of Brad Lawson came off pit road. He might have had a problem as he is all the way down back into 25th or so position, it seems, as Wellman up in 13th. Oh my gosh, contact between Wellman and the 15.
Yeah, I was about to say, Hornets Nest territory, Wellman net leader in all this. Lawson is in this pack, but is a few truck lengths behind it in amongst the traffic. Look at the difference of slow tires and new tires. Those older new tires usually can cause an absolute calamity of an incident in this type of situation. Wellman having it go 3 wide inside Hardy cut.
Insane move for Kyle Wellman there in the 42. And as you mentioned, Justin, the top 12 guys are all still out on the old set of tires. The 94 Jonathan Dominic's getting up into the wall. Now they are struggling out there on their tires to get their cars turned into the corner. Here we go. Some more pit stops. Oh! Almost around. And great save there into pit road as you have 3 more cars coming down to the lane.
You're near trouble in that spot right now. Here we go as they try and find a way to go. The 10. It's a big gamble here. I'm surprised he's gone as long as he has, because Butcher Benjamin was going to contend for a top 3 regardless. Has to be hoping for a caution flag if the way things are going, because this is not the race when he moves.
Yeah, staying out this long, you're simply going to get undercut by the guys behind that are pitting. I'm a Rasco. Now I'm getting word that one machine misses his stall. He's going to have to back up into that, and he almost spun an entry as well. So we're going to have a replay here of what happened to Ty Marasco as he's having some chaos on his pit entry.
There he goes, and look, already signed it a little bit. Right there, a little bit of a stab on the brakes, turn it around. And hearing Phillips amongst those speeding. Butcher Benjamin is in. No, not potentially going to be in the conversation for the lead early on in the run, but there is the potential with a 6, maybe 10 lap difference on tires. He'd be able to push. He's still up on the jacks, but it's Kyle Wellman who's been able to run away from the pressure and do so pretty significantly, because Kleinsmith is on nearly the same cycle as him and has already lost a lot of ground despite Kleinsmith picking up a good cycle to get there in the first place. Butcher Benjamin well behind by half a track.
Yeah, and that right there is the difference in tires. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin, after he got completely undercut now, Justin, I think he had to play for the overcut. Either 1, to catch a caution, trap everybody else a lap down and see if he can jump the field that way, or 2, Justin, now he's got a tire advantage over the rest of the field. It's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 12 lap tire advantage comparison to Ronnie Lane. So I think the 10's plan here going forward, he built a tire deficit to the rest of these guys. Now he's going to see if he can use that advantage to make up the time he lost to the undercut and see if he can use that pace advantage to see if he can fight for a top 10, a top 5, maybe even the win here. Depends how much pace he's able to find in his last 20 laps.
Here's a look at Kilrow and his situation, by the way. No, he's amongst those going to have to save a bit right in front of Ronnie Lane. In a decent spot, even with the older tires, right behind Kleinsmith and Lawson. And remember, Kilrow put himself in the spot by finding different strategies to execute all night, get himself track position. He's been able to withstand most of the pressure despite all that with the fuel strategy. He's done very well for himself here tonight.
Yeah, Kilrow, one of those guys that's playing that fuel strategy absolutely perfectly, trying to cut the amount of pit stops he's trying to make here today completely in half, as a lot of the guys on the field looking at 5, looking at 6 pit stops. Dalton Kilrow, you may ask, has only done 4 on the day. So magnificent fuel saving from him to cut 1, maybe even 2 pit stops completely from his race strategy. Because of that, he's up there in 4th at the moment. Good to make it to the end with a little bit of fuel saving, I might add. But Dalton Kilroe, nonetheless, has driven a magnificent race out there tonight so far.
Yep, and now laps tick away here. Speeds right now down to the 32.4s for Wellman, by the way. Find out how well his times withstand themselves. Butcher Benjamin 7 seconds back in the leader after his pit stop situation also. Looking at this, their second. Kleinsmith, Lawson outside, holds on.
And now here we go. It's Wellman versus Lawson. The 2 cars who were fighting right before the pit stops, they're going to be battling it out as well. And in the bottom of your screen, look at the tire difference in pace. We talked about it. Taylor Stats BB. He lost a lot of time due to the undercut, but he built himself a tire advantage. 7/10 of a second, 7/10 of a second, 5/10 of a second. Lap after lap after lap, he's gaining another 7/10 of a second quicker lap. Taylor Butch Benjamin, he's only 6.3 seconds off the lead. He has the time to race for the lead here tonight. He is not out of this race whatsoever.
Look at 3 wide. Brian Zimmerman bangs off a couple doors. Lane just downgrading down on the pylon, and everybody's uprooting him. Lane being left to dry up the middle. That 2 just is struggling at this point of the run. There is hanging over the back end of the 97 all over his bumper.
Yeah, Ronnie Lane has older tires than a lot of the guys around him, whether it be by 1 lap, whether it be by 4 laps. That 2 is really struggling on his tires at the moment. As now Chris Berg in that 66 trying to go up to his inside, see if he can demote that 2 down to 9th place. Berg looking for the inside through the tri-oval into 1, and he easily clears them. And actually, the 87 of Eddie Hagig looking to follow up as well.
Yeah, right now that 97 holds on to the top 10 for now. Looked to the outside instead, didn't like the initial way he attacked. Will have to take the high groove to get the job done. As the clouds head over the racetrack, track temperatures may plummet now from the peak for a little bit. We'll find out if this is a hamper late. Butcher Benjamin is still not in the top 10.
He's not, but he's got the top 10 in his sights now. He's going to look down the inside of Ronnie Lane, and with the way that Lane's been bleeding positions these last couple of laps, this should be a really easy move for the 10 here. It indeed is, and now he just can cut his way through this field like a hot knife in butter. He's outpacing these guys by about 6 or 7/10 a second a lap. And even though there's a lot of cars to get through Justin, he's not going to have a hard time doing it at all with the pace differential at the moment.
There it is for Butcher Benjamin, by the way. Top 10. Now taken by the 10. Also take on the 66 of Berg. And also Brian Zimmerman on that speed. He is 4 seconds back in the leader. There might be a small chance if he's able to put together laps he's doing right now to get there half a second quicker than the race leader. I don't know about this. We've seen crazier things happen. 3.7 seconds. It require a miracle, but he's still closing the gap rapidly.
On paper, I think he definitely has the pace to catch Wellman. It's just about whether he can make his way through the traffic quick enough to actually bring a fight to the 42 by the end of this race. Speaking about bringing a fight to the 42, the 85 looking to do that himself. Brad Lawson seeing if he can look for a run around the outside. Matthew Kleinschmidt waiting in the wings of this battle as a 3-car fight for the lead is about to set off here with 10 laps to go.
Well, and remember, it had ran away by about a second or so. That gap already down with him running 32.8. Kleinsmith the quickest out of the 3 and the 7s. Lawson puts himself on the wall. Here comes Kleinsmith in the battle for second, looking inside of the 59.
He's got the inside. Oh, the 59 has the inside of Lawson now, looking for the move into second. But Lawson uses that momentum around the high side and holds off Kleinschmidt for the time being. Looking back at the picture for Taylor Butcher-Benjamin, gained 0.7 of a second that last lap, now only 2.5 seconds behind the leader up into fifth, Justin. There is a very realistic chance that he takes the race lead here. I'm putting my money on the 10 here tonight.
Yeah, 2.6 back. Right now, chipping away in Earth near 4/10. It's going to be close. I don't know if it would be the win, but it requires the leaders to battle to really help his case. Coming to 7 laps to go. Lawson, despite the wall scrape, still holds on to the P2 spot. He's been having to deal with this much of the way in terms of some of the pressure. But now, as we go, keep in mind, Butcher-Benjamin did close to 2.3 now.
2.1 seconds and counting down lap by lap, little by little. 0.4 of a second, lap 126. And did you see it's 0.4 of a second pretty consistently. Lap 126, lap 127, lap 128, all hovering around that 0.4 of a second. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be really, really close. If you multiply 7 by 4, you do get 2.8 seconds. So he's underneath that 2.8 second threshold that he has to be within if he's outpacing leaders at 0.4 of a second. So on paper, like I said earlier, he's doing the laps. He has the pace he needs to catch up to Wellman by the end of the race. But it's all about the traffic. It's all about those 3 cars in between the 42 and the 10. That being the 85, the 59, the 41, and how quickly Taylor Butcher-Benjamin can put them behind him to get to the race lead of Kyle Wellman.
Yeah, 1.5, the gap with 5 laps to go. Might leave him with 1, maybe 2 laps to actually go for the lead if it keeps trimming down. There he is in the draft as we go. Give credit to Arthur. He's also been chipping away this gap also. He's another second back of that. So a few of the drivers who were able to go longer, making some stellar charges here late.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, Justin. Mark Arthur on the exact same age of tires as Taylor Butcher-Benjamin, and because of that, he's able to follow the 10 through all the traffic. Oh my gosh, contact almost made between Kleinschmidt and Lawson. It looked like Lawson was about to pinch the 59 into the apron, but no harm and no foul there from either machine. But here he comes. Taylor Butcher-Benjamin down the inside of Dalton Kilroe, and he's up into 4th off of 4. And this is going to be your battle for the lead in just about 2 to 3 laps, seeming or hoping that Taylor Stats BB is able to make quick work with these trucks ahead of him.
Needs to if he wants to win this race. Less than 3 laps to go. Gets by 1 to get to the top 5, make it 4th. Now needs to pass by Kleinsmith this corner. Kleinsmith immediately blocks him to the bottom. Butcher-Benjamin forced up a little bit up the track. This is the tough part. He's got tires to push, but did he burn them up?
Yeah, that's a great question. Did he save enough rubber to make this push for the top spotter? Did he use all of his stuff trying to catch the pack initially? It's going to be tight. It's going to be close, but I think Butcher-Benjamin, he's caught the outside of Kleinschmidt, and he's got the run to make the move for 3rd, and he's got the move for 3rd. Done. Taylor Butcher-Benjamin now sets his sights forward onto Brad Lawson.
Coming up to the white flag this time by final time around. Kyle Wellman has controlled this race, 62 laps led. Has to hold back not only Lawson, but the fresher tires of Butcher-Benjamin, who gets the edge the final time around. TBB moving up from the high groove, doesn't get the chance for 2nd. Wellman controls this pack going up to turn 3. Will Lawson try and send it? No, he does not. Butcher-Benjamin instead will send it for 2nd. The 10 zips on through for 1 spot. but it's the one spot for Kyle Wellman. Checker flag, Wellman wins at Kentucky.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin will bring it home in second. I believe it is second for Taylor Stat. Speedy Brad Lawson rounds out your podium in third. Kleinschmidt falls down to fourth, followed by Kilroe to wrap out your top five. And what a nail-biting ending that was. I thought Taylor Butcher Benjamin had it. I put my money on him, but Wellman holds him off just barely. And I think one more lap, Justin, and I think Butcher Benjamin gets the win.
5 Kings goes to victory lane as a result. And he'll be joined by a couple celebratory drivers. I think 27 is actually trying to finish Central Coons to end off his race. But it's Wellman's burnout time. And a trip all the way down to victory lane here this evening.
And as we listen to the glorious sound of that engine revving inside the truck, the rubber burning on the asphalt, Wellman doing some magnificent burnouts across the stripe to celebrate a well-earned victory here at Kentucky, the second race of the Blazing Pedal League. And Justin, we are in for a ride as I'm looking at the upcoming schedule, and this is not going to be a series you're going to want to miss.
Especially since, if you like mile and a half, the next few weeks going to be an interesting one with tracks like Vegas, Dover, Bristol, some short tracks I know it just mixed in there. But if you like tracks where you have to work the tires, like we've seen Wellman do tonight, you're going to be in for a treat. Wellman just used all his tire wear all the way up to NASCAR 4. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results. Wellman, Butcher Benjamin, the top 2. Then the Team 5 Red Machine of Boston in the top 3. Kleinschmidt down in 4th with Kilroe in the top 5. Arthur finished off at 6th today with Lagoons in 7th. Landon Cano will be in 8th today. Berg and Heggie, the top 10.
Finishing tonight's race in 11th position, it's going to be Chris Evans. That 98 machine, he's going to be followed off by Brian Zimmerman in 12th, Jonathan Dominics in 13th, Ronnie Lane in 14th, Dustin Ping in 15th, Michael Boone behind him, and then followed up by Ty Marasco, Trevor Harmon, Billy Hensley, and Brian Dees to finish out your top 20.
Nicholas Moody 21st tonight, Mike Massengill in 22nd, Coburn, Harkins, and Neese in the top 25. Howell, after his damage picked up during pit road sequences, fell down to 26th, Jeffrey Reed in 27th, Jason Powell in 28th, the last of the lead lap. Carter Phillips from his penalty on pit road finished off in 29th, and William Bruden in 30th.
Your final 7 cars of the field here tonight are going to be Caleb Ellswick, Chris Carroll, Brian Roush, Cody Gibson, Jamie Lee Dunning, Logan M. Wilson, and Jacob Bell round out your field.
We'll talk about the order here in Blazing Pedals. Tonight's post-race coverage and post-race interviews are brought to you by Flying Pig Tavern in Fairborn, Ohio. Offers pizza as well as specialty pizza. Special events Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. So a few drivers getting a treat of a race here tonight. Kyle Wellman is the one who's able to come away with a celebration today. Kyle Wellman, how does it feel to get the win tonight here in Blazing Pedals?
Man, it feels really good. This is only my second BPL points paying win. I was just telling Brad, this is my second worst track ever, and I don't understand where I figured something out, but I made it work.
I was going to say, what's kind of your thought process in terms of the strategy tonight? Because we've seen you take a couple gambles when it came to tire sets.
Just wanted some stage points. Battled pretty hard in first stage. Stayed out on old tires, hoping to save one for the end in case there was a wreck. Then we got that wreck halfway through the second stage. I'm like, well, might as well come get tires and race for some stage points. And came down, had the track position, got some more tires, and it just went on from there.
Well, that being said here, you start with momentum now with this run. Second race of the season with victory. How do you feel about your Vegas skills?
I'm all right at Vegas. I like it. I'd say maybe top 10, depending how the racing goes. But only thing I don't like about Vegas is that big bump in the bottom of 1 and 2. We'll see if the truck likes it next week or not.
Any shout you'd like to give here this evening?
What was that?
Who do you want to thank for the run tonight?
Oh, we'll thank the whole admin team over at BPL putting these on every week. Got, I think it's Ohio and Indiana Roofing for sponsoring us every week. You guys broadcasting. Love your broadcast. I think it's the best I've ever watched. Got Tripods in the Wild, which is my company, photography company. Find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And then thanks to my Five Kings teammates for helping out and helping with strategy tonight.
Well, on that note, congratulations on the run here tonight. Kyle, you get the victory.
Yeah, thank you.
Kyle Wellman able to come away on top tonight in this one. Celebrations are on for him and will continue on. As second spot tonight, TBB tried something different. The original thought was this won't work. Instead, it almost did, Lucas. He finished up in second.
Yes, welcome to the booth, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Congratulations on the second. An amazing overcut strategy at the end to work your way back up, but you're so close to first. Talk me through those last couple laps.
Well, I mean, the last couple of laps was pretty something trying to fight through there. But as far as the strategy, I mean, I didn't think I had a prayer of finishing 15th. I mean, this is already not a good track for me, and I already I qualified kind of average, but then just couldn't go anywhere. Just stuck in the middle of the pack, couldn't pass anybody on the bottom, and so I felt like getting those tires when the fuel window was open and making on one more was my only option to try to make something out of it. And then it turns out that, you know, look where I'm at, P2 somehow. I mean, pretty ecstatic, to be honest. I mean, I love to win the race, of course, but given how bad I ran all night long, I mean, I'm not going to complain one bit.
And earlier in the race, when you were back in the pack, talk us through how hard it is to formulate a move down the inside of a big intermediate like Kentucky.
I mean, this place is tough to pass in general, but just, yeah, getting caught in that dirty air and the right front just goes away. And then you feel like the harder you try, the worse, you know, you end up being, and the more you just wear the right front. But yeah, getting into 3 is pretty difficult in general. It's just a very unusual corner. But I mean, it didn't take me till I was on that last run to figure out how to do it, because I think early on I was just driving it way too hard. But once I got the clean air and was kind of just easing it down in the corner, I think that's how I finally was able to figure it out.
All right, well, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out or thank for this second place here tonight?
Well, of course, the guys at IMFRD, you guys for doing the broadcast, Mark and everybody for putting the league on, and yeah, I think Vegas is next week, right?
It is, yes.
All right, cool. I think that should be a good one as well. So hope everybody enjoyed tonight, and hopefully next week can be just as fun.
All right, yeah, we'll see you next week out at the Sin City, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Yep, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. In your third place finisher now, Brad Loss barely kicked off by Taylor Butcherman at the last lap, and Justin stands by with him.
Yes, indeed. Brad Lawson able to claw his way to third. How would you describe your efforts here tonight in the E5?
Oh, it was a tough little bout between me and the 42, and it seemed like we were both throwing haymakers there at the end, and he came out on top. I threw a haymaker going into 3, I guess, and kind of lost a little momentum. Let TBB sneak by there at the end, and it was good fun battling. I know Wellman, he was going to be aggressive coming through the field, and he and I both, I had to kind of take on that persona there at the end of the race and be as aggressive as I could on fresh tires, and just a couple spots short tonight.
Dean, we've seen that all throughout the night. The tough thing was how were you in terms of being able to set things up in the dirty air at a track where dirty air is a big factor?
I feel like I was pretty decent. I usually be able to break a little bit going into 1 where a lot of guys weren't slowing down as much. I could get a better run off of 2, and then that kind of sets me up going into 3. So I was able to get to the outside of a lot of guys there, and just be like that pester truck there, just kind of holding on the left rear, or the right rear, and not allowing them to get that full run off and getting the runs that way. So I was able to navigate the dirty air. I feel like pretty decent. It was just a matter of just trying to get to the outside of Kyle there, and I couldn't ever. He never really gave me that door to put my truck on the outside there.
With that being said, how do you feel about Las Vegas?
Vegas is a very similar track to this, I feel like. So it's going to be a whole lot more hammer down, I feel like. And Vegas, I'm looking forward to that. I usually run decent there. This track here is kind of like a home track for me. I'm a Kentucky boy, born and raised. So I really wanted to have a good showing here, and I feel like we done that. So Vegas coming up is going to be a crapshoot, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Any show would you like to give here tonight?
All the team members of Team 5 Motorsports, Joey Neese, he runs this deal. Trevor Harmon, Jay Powell, Kevin Coburn, a lot of the guys there, Willie, and BL Sim Designs, and Andrea Lawson Photography, and I think that's about it. Thank the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and all that He's able to let me do here.
Congratulations on the run here tonight.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Brad Lawson, top 3 finish here today. I'd like to thank the top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on Green Flag TV. Your final thoughts tonight, Lucas, as these droppers prepare to see who is able to come out on top in Sim City next time through. A play on the obvious nickname to Las Vegas.
I mean, what a magnificent race these guys brought out for us here today. Different strategies all throughout the field. Amazing battles for the lead right there at the end. And of course, the 3-wide and 4-wide action. Love to see it. And I cannot wait for next week out at Las Vegas, which in the truck leads to a lot of pack racing.
That coverage will be March 15th, 7:30 p.m. start time. Be sure to tune in. You're on Green Flag TV. But it's just about time to say goodbye for tonight's coverage. It's time to stay tuned because we will keep things up here at Green Flag. Motor City Racing IMSA Series is at Monza tonight. 41 minutes to go. Let's join them in progress in a moment, because for Lucas Moody, for Dustin Owens, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. To the rest of your evening, you've been watching Blazing Pedals. Let's see how the road course is doing.